What is going on? We are live for episode. I gotta take a look at the episode because I don't even be knowing. Episode 18 of Boxing Fanatico Live. Hold on, let me switch over to just my face. What's going on, brother? We got Hashim47 starting us off like always. The man, the myth, the legend, Hashim47 with the Let's Go champ. What's going on, Hashim? What's going on? How you been, man? How you been? How's everything, man? How's everything with you? We got to talk about a few things today. We're going to talk about how Shakur got pushed out of the number one contender spot. That's an important thing to talk about. Let me get myself some water right quick. But we also got to talk about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. They had their first face-off. Their first face-off happened on ESPN First Take. So they were with Stephen A. Smith, and they had basically a conversation. It didn't seem fiery in the slightest. It's like they both have mad respect for each other. I don't know if they're not going the route of selling the fight in terms of using turmoil to sell the fight. So I don't know. What's up, Fanatico? It looks official. Spence and Bud were on ESPN. Yeah, was just talking about that. Hashim47 been real good, man. Still on a high from the Spence Crawford announcement. Hope you're good, champ. Yeah, man, bro. 100%, man. When they were on ESPN First Take, that made it real. Like, I know that they both announced it, and they're both already talking about it. I know that. But we've heard them talk about it, right? Like, we've heard the Twitters, and we've heard they might do it for October, or they might do it for November. Like, we've heard all that before, right? Stuff from the Twitterverse we've heard. But to get it on ESPN to the point where it's not even ESPN speculating about the fight, it's ESPN having both Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford on the show doing a digital face-off. Granted, it was with a lot of respect, a lot of humbleness, so we didn't get no fireworks. But it is what it is. We don't always got to get fireworks. Hopefully this fight sells. But, I mean, who knows? Also, we got to talk about the pay-per-view buys for Devin Haney versus Lomachenko. We got to talk about that, too, because that's looking pretty interesting, and that might create ripple effects throughout the sport of boxing. But let's take a look. I think the fact that they've been talking to each other for a few months in private is why there wasn't much animosity between them. Both know they really want to fight. Yeah, of course, 100%. And like I always say, when there's silence from both teams, that means the fight is actually being made. The fact that we ain't hear nothing from them meant they were actually making that fight. If we would have been hearing from them, they wasn't working on the fight. It's because the only reason the fight got made was because we ain't hear anything from them. Now, I do have to do an apology to Errol Spence Jr. because, number one, I know that fighters aren't physically scared to fight anybody, right? Because physically scared, like, nobody's physically scared in boxing to fight another fighter, right? I did feel for a long time that Errol Spence was worried he would lose to Terrence Crawford because of basically circumstantial evidence, right? Like the things he would say, the way he would leave if Terrence Crawford wins a fight or not show up to a Terrence Crawford fight. If Terrence Crawford showed up to a fight, he would leave the ring. He wouldn't let Terrence Crawford come into the ring. If confronted by Terrence Crawford, he would tell him stuff like, I'm gonna go the easy route, I'm gonna get other belts. So I'm guilty of just thinking, man, this dude is scared of Terrence Crawford. But after watching but when I say scared, I don't mean scared to fight him. I mean scared to potentially lose. You could think you could beat somebody, but think in your mind it's so dangerous to fight him in terms of he could also win that maybe I don't want to do this, right? And you're worried about the loss. It's not so much, like You're not so much worried about getting hurt or whatever. You're just worried about the loss. But watching First Take, it made so much sense. I mean, they were trying to push this man to fight Keith Thurman. He was not having it. They were trying to push him to fight somebody. He was not having it. He didn't want to fight anybody else other than Bud Crawford. And then on top of all of that, he basically wrote his entire process before it happened. He said he's going to collect every single belt the easy way first, because he knew that it was a difficult task to make the fight with Bud Crawford. So he did that, and then he did not relent. He basically forced his promoter's hand to do the Bud Crawford fight. I have to commend him, and I have to take back the thought or the speculation that I had for Errol Spence, which I'm not gonna lie, I felt like he didn't want the Bud Crawford fight. But I think now, in retrospect, in hindsight, hindsight is 2020, or right? That's what they say. But yeah, that now looking back at it, I don't think he was ever worried to lose. I think he always wanted to become undisputed. He just did it in a path that made more sense, right? I mean, if he would have been trying to get Crawford, he wouldn't have been making the other fights, and then the other fights would have taken forever. So kudos to Errol Spence. They both showed an utmost level of respect to each other during that First Take. It was a beautiful thing. And I'm praying that this does good pay-per-view numbers, because if it does, it'll open up the doors for a lot of different fights, because this is our super fight. And if the super fight doesn't do good, they're going to use this as a tool to say, look, we shouldn't make any other super fights. We need to make more gimmick fights, more fights where it's only because they're popular on social media that we can make this happen and make money out of it. And then we're going to start leaning too much into that stuff, and we're not going to be leaning too much into, the top dogs fighting each other. When Andre Ward fought Kovalev, man, that was a true pound for pound fight. That was to see who was the pound for pound best, and barely anybody watched it. I'm hoping that that's not the case again. I'm hoping that that's not the case. I feel like this is a much bigger super fight than Andre Ward versus Kovalev was at that time. And I'm hoping that it transcends. I really do. I really hope it transcends, man. All right, hold on. We got the comments over here. Hold on. Hashim 47, I think he basically confirmed today that he went for all the other belts first because he knew Crawford's WBO belt would be the hardest to attain. Yeah. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. As opposed to thinking before how I thought he did a lot of things that it just looked suspect to me, right? But it makes a lot of sense when you look at it. I mean, he really refused to fight anybody else except Terrence Crawford. So he could have gone the easy route and say, oh, let me go fight this guy and this guy and this guy, and now I don't got to worry about you or whatever. But he wanted to be undisputed. So he really, truly wanted to be undisputed. The fact that the fight has been made and there's concessions on both sides, right? There's rematch clauses for both. It just proves that he truly wanted this fight. It proves that he truly wanted it. AP, whatever, what's going on, bro? You tried that new strawberry Sprite they got? Strawberry Sprite? What, you talking about LaCroix got a strawberry Sprite? I ain't tried that, man. I might have to try that. It's fire. Word. But is it better than Beach Plum? Come on. Beach Plum is the GOAT, man. Beach Plum's the GOAT. I cannot wait for this fight in July, bro. So 50-50. Yeah, it's very, very 50-50. I think this fight does at least 750,000. I don't know, man. I don't know. After the Devin Haney pay-per-view numbers, I'm not so sure this fight could hit 750,000 pay-per-views. I hope, but I'm not so sure. Crawford seems so excited and hyped. Finally got the fight he's been chasing, and he can't wait to get in there. Yeah. They both hyped. They both excited. They both hyped. That'd be great. Yeah, no, they're both excited and hyped. I can't wait to see it. I'm hoping that it does well because Dan Rafael put out preliminary internal source numbers, and it's looking like the pay-per-view with Devin Haney versus Lomachenko did 150,000 pay-per-view buys. And that those are not great numbers. Those are not great numbers. What that tells me is that the gimmicky fights are more financially viable to a promoter than the official fights, right? Because Tank versus Ryan is literally in the same weight class. Tank versus Ryan is literally in the same weight class. None of them have a belt, although Tank technically has a belt, but it's the regular WBA. It wasn't on the line. And they did million pay-per-view buys, million plus. They more than quadrupled what these guys did. And this was to kind of see like who the best in the 135 division is. So it's giving me a little bit of a pause and a little bit of worry when it comes to the hype, like behind Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. I feel that I'm super hyped for it. People that I know that like boxing are super hyped for it, right? So I'm hoping that it transcends. By the time we get to July 29th, I'm hoping it transcends into the casual market. And we get at least give us about 500 to 600,000 pay-per-views. I would love for this thing to do 1 million, but I'm hoping at least 400 to 500,000 pay-per-view buys. Damn, you probably put me onto that beast plan. We're going to see. Man, you got what? Trust me, bro. This thing is the tastiest carbonated water you could find, bro. It's tastiest. What's good, Jumpman23? What's going on? I think both those fighters are more proven than Devin Haney. I think it'll do better, to be honest. Yeah, but look. Devin Haney more proven than Ryan Garcia. Lomachenko more proven than you could say Lomachenko more proven than Tank, because he fought people like Nicholas Walters. He fought people like Guillermo Rigondeaux, Linares, right? So those two guys were more proven, and that was a much more impactful fight for the sport than Tank versus Ryan. Yet Tank versus Ryan crossed the 1 million mark. And these guys didn't even cross the 200,000 mark. Now, those are preliminary numbers. We don't know for sure, but they're coming from Dan Rafael, and he's like super inside. He's like the most inside guy. I think Dan Rafael was covering boxing before anybody on Twitter was covering boxing. Like, he's been covering boxing since forever. So, yeah, Adrian Dones, it looks like it's only 150,000. I think the fact it's on Showtime pay-per-view, yeah. That I think will help. Now I'm very curious. So this is going to be a really good case study. Was this whole kind of digging it into the back pay-per-view strategy the reason why it did low numbers, right? Because you had to be on, or somebody said Direct TV or whatever, but I didn't see that advertised where you could get it on Direct TV, and every other cable thing you couldn't get it for those cable like normal cable, right? Like whatever, AT&T cable, Verizon cable, whatever that is. You couldn't get it. You had to have, for the majority, because of the way it was promoted, you had to have ESPN Plus, and from ESPN Plus, you bought the pay-per-view. I don't know how many casual fans just gonna have ESPN Plus, right? ESPN Plus is not that big of a deal to casual fans if you're not a boxing fan. I feel like boxing gets more benefit out of ESPN Plus than anybody else, right? Because all their sports, like if you like sports but you don't like boxing, all your sport is available everywhere else. You don't need ESPN Plus for that, right? So I'm wondering if this comes out on Showtime, which it will, and you could order it through cable normally, will the numbers be higher? Especially because this is an important all-around fight. This is not just to see who the best welterweight is. That's like the lowest thing that this is trying to do. We trying to see somebody become undisputed in the welterweight division for the first time in history. We're trying to see if Bud Crawford going to be the first ever multi-weight or multi-divisional undisputed champion. We trying to see who the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world is. There's so much at stake for this fight. It is the biggest possible fight that could be made in boxing, bar none. And I'm hoping that electricity of that thought process goes out to the world and everybody watches this. I truly want this to do over 1 million pay-per-view buys. I want this to send a signal that a super fight is a super fight is a super fight, and people are gonna watch it. And it's not just let's put the gimmick fights on. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, you're right. I just think it's the gimmick behind it. The whole having Floyd and Oscar De La Hoya behind both the fighters pushed it a lot as well. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a lot of gimmick behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like Ryan Garcia, he was on, he's big on social media. He's cool with all the social media guys. Tank is pretty famous on social media as well. He's pretty famous on the internet. And like, they came together, and then there was the added element of Floyd Mayweather, is the added element of Oscar De La Hoya. I feel like there were so many perfect things to make a casual care about this. How many perfect things are there out there to make a casual care about Crawford versus Errol Spence? I don't think there's much. And Devin Haney versus Lomachenko is tough. And even if, like, it's tough that it did 150, but even if I look at, because it was on ESPN Plus, right? Even if I look at the DAZN numbers, the DAZN numbers were like 450,000 pay-per-views for Devin Tank versus Ryan. And that's $20 a month. That's $20 a month, and it still got all the way up there. So it's like, I don't know, man. I'm really curious, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that people will watch this, because when it's all said and done, we're going to get the Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. We got the fight already, right? We got it already. And maybe the Tank fight made that happen even more. But what about the next fights after that? What about the other super fights, right? What about a Shakur versus Tank or something like that? Or Devin Haney versus Tank or something like that? What about the down the line stuff? Because once we get the Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence fight, it will be over. Like right now, we're hype. I'm mega hype. I can't wait. But we're going to get there at one point. We're going to watch it. We're going to reminisce. We're going to talk about it. And then we're going to look at what's the next thing. What's the next thing? Because there's got to be a next thing. And we won't really have a next thing if they don't do that well, in my opinion. Like there won't be people clamoring or promoters clamoring to give us the next best thing. I ain't gonna lie to you though, bro. I definitely streamed that Haney and Loma, right? Illegally, I'll tell you that. Man, come on. See, okay, we can't do this though. We can't, AP whatever. We can't do this. We gotta figure out, our money for the Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence fight. We gotta figure it out, bro. We have to, man, because we gotta support. And the only way we vote for the super fights is with our wallets. That's the only way we do it. So we have to support this fight. We really do. Sad that people don't know how big this fight is. Nah, I mean, within the boxing community, they know it's big. And I love that they put them on First Take. That's going to make it even bigger. That's going to make it big. They just got to keep on hitting that, CBS Sports is going to talk about it. They got to keep on hitting that. And hopefully it goes into the public zeitgeist and then they watch it. Like, that's what I'm hoping. The two best undefeated fighters for Undisputed in the Glamour division. Yeah, 147. Hope it hits 1 million for real. If it hits 1 million, oh my God, I'll be through the moon, man. I'll be over the moon. They did Shakur dirty. LOL. Oh, we got to talk about that. Nah, I swear I'm going to buy that one. The Haney fight's the only one I didn't buy this year. And it was circumstances, I promise. All right, bro. I'm just saying, man. Bro. Yo, we're going to have some amazing All Access episodes. And then you know the epilogue going to be fire. The epilogue with Tank versus Ryan, that joint was fire. And it is possible that Showtime knows how to sell a fight, man, because they sold it. Like, they were a big part of selling the fight with Tank versus Ryan. So let's see, man. I'm actually kind of glad that it's on Showtime. I feel like they're gonna make something work on that, and we might get some good numbers. As long as we hit like at least 400, 500,000, I'll be happy. If it can hit that million mark, oh my goodness, that'll be amazing. That will be amazing. So now let's talk about the title of this video, man. We've been talking about this Terrence Crawford thing. It's because it's too hard not to talk about that, right? That's the next thing, right? And when I talk about the whole Lomachenko thing, I feel like I'm talking backwards, like I'm going backwards. But there's still developments there. So let's talk about what happened, right? And let's switch over to here. Michael Benson reports Vasily Lomachenko has retained his position as the number one contender. As the number one contender is the what? Okay, he should have put a period there. Is the new WBC lightweight rankings following. Wait, Vasily Lomachenko has retained his position as number one contender. This is the new. Let me add words to make this easy to read. This is the new WBC lightweight rankings following his defeat to Devin Haney. Shakur Stevenson is number 2, which, by the way, Shakur was number 1 after that fight, but now he is number 2. So if Haney moves up to super lightweight, the WBC will likely order Loma versus Shakur for the vacant belt. Here's the kicker, though. I think Haney's moving up. I think he's moving up to 140. And I think that, I mean, once he does that, and I'm very positive that he's going to do that, his interview post-fight was very ominous to him moving, right? He said, what did he say? He said something like, I've been the same weight since I was 7 years old. He said something crazy like that. So he made it seem like I can't keep making his weight. And I think in his mind, he beat Loma, so he good. He beat Loma, so he already set that standard. Like, I'm up here with these guys. He was collecting the belts. I beat the guy that was collecting the belts. And I beat the person who beat the guy that beat him. So I think in his mind, he's like, I'm done. I don't need to stay here. I don't need to fight Shakur. I don't need to fight Tank. I can move up. Now, I know that he's planning on moving up because let's look at this right here. Look at the stuff that he's saying right here, man. I'm thinking about it because Regis Prograis said, yo, real Devin Haney, come pull up to the fight in New Orleans in 3 weeks. I got some ringside tickets for you. We're going to show you that Southern hospitality. And he wrote, I'm thinking about it. I'm assuming Eddie told you about that little call I just gave him. Then he writes 3 hours ago, for the record, I called Eddie about making a Regis fight. He didn't call me. So that means he called Eddie Hearn because he wants the Regis Prograis fight. Eddie didn't call him means he's looking to move to 140. It's not people going in his ear telling him, yo, come to 140. You can fight Regis Prograis. He don't want to be in Top Rank no more. That's my vibe that I'm getting. He confirmed, by the way, that he was not signed to Top Rank, so that was false information. He was not re-signed to Top Rank. He was still negotiating with Top Rank. There was obviously the fallout when he saw Bob Arum was saying that Lomachenko won the fight and all these things. So he decided, hey, you know what? Cool. I'm going to go move up to 140 and fight Regis Prograis and sign with Eddie Hearn. Now, if he signs with Eddie Hearn, I don't see anybody else he could fight after he fights Regis Prograis. I feel like even if he was to stay with Bob Arum and move up to 140, he still has more options. He has Josh Taylor at 140 with Bob Arum, and he has a Teofimo Lopez with Bob Arum. But for some reason, he wants to go up and fight, Regis Prograis. Now, I hear you. I hear you, Hashim. Regis Prograis got the WBC. I hear you. But here's the thing. I'm trying to see him fight like, wait, no, Regis Prograis don't have the WBC. 140 is, there's an undisputed champion, which is Josh Taylor. I don't know why I thought. Regis don't have the WBC. Josh Taylor got all the belts. Josh Taylor got all the belts. He could actually have stayed with Top Rank, move up, fight for all of the belts. He vacated some of the belts. Is this confirmed? I didn't know that. Did he vacate some of the belts? If so, that's crazy. I don't know why he would vacate some of the belts, because once you become undisputed, you could circumvent a lot of mandatories. So I don't know why he would vacate some of the belts. Well, hopefully he didn't. Well, if he did, that kind of sucks. But if he didn't, what could happen? If he didn't do that, what could have happened is that Devin Haney could have moved up and fought Josh Taylor for undisputed, and then it could have been a double undisputed. He could have been double undisputed. But you're telling me, I got to look into this. You're telling me he only holds the WBO now. That's wild. That's wild. That's garbage. Why would you become undisputed, not lose, and then lose your belts? And then you're still in the 140-pound division. Doesn't make any sense. They were talking about Ryan fighting Josh Taylor. Ryan? But if Ryan moves up to 140. Possible. All right, well, okay. Okay, so he can't be undisputed. Maybe a Regis Prograis fight makes a little bit more sense now. But it's still just a very short thing. Unless Devin Haney is just going to keep being the road trip boxer, right? Where he's like, listen, I'll sign with you for one deal. Then I'm going to go back over to Top Rank, sign a 3-fight deal. Then I'm going to go to Golden Boy, sign a 1-fight deal. Then I'm going to do... So maybe he starts, moving in that way. Because that's how he was kind of moving anyways, right? He doesn't really stay with anybody. He's just moving around, going to different promoters who benefit him, which I respect so much. So much confidence in that man, in that young man, for him to think, I'm going to go to this promoter for 3 fights. I'm going to go to that promoter for 1 fight. I'm going to go to this promoter for 2 fights. And it's just like he's just going to wherever the person that he needs to fight is. Like, if I want to fight Regis Prograis, I'm going to sign a contract with Eddie Hearn for 1 fight. If I need to fight this guy, I'm going to sign a contract with Bob Arum. If I need to go back and fight Shakur, I'm going to sign a contract. But I don't think... The thing is, if he moves up, get this, the belts disperse. So it'll be... you would have to collect the belts all over again at 135. So Shakur would eventually... He would essentially fight Lomachenko for the WBC belt. But he's going to fight Lomachenko for the WBC belt only. And then he will have to go and fight for all these different vacant belts. It's going to be pretty difficult. It's not going to be like one undisputed champion. It's going to be go back to collecting all the different belts. And I don't know if I like that. I feel like I would have wanted to see somebody win the undisputed belts between like these guys if they're gonna fight, but that's not the case. So it's looking like let me take a look here. Let me pull this up. I think I got something else on here. Oh no, that was it. So yeah, it's looking like Devin Haney is going to move up. I'm almost, just from seeing this, I'm almost 95% sure. Almost 95% sure he moves up to 140. And more than likely, his next fight is Regis Prograis. He's gonna vacate the belts, unless he did say something like he wanted to hold on to the belts, come back down, and defend them. But I don't know if they will allow him to do that if he fights for another belt at a higher weight. He might have to not fight for another belt at a higher weight to pull that off. Because if he fights for another belt, they might take the undisputed title away from him at 135. Now, poor Shakur. The dude thought he was number 1 contender. He is no longer number 1 contender, but he probably will be essentially the number 1 contender for the WBC if, in fact, Devin Haney moves up, which I think he's going to do. 140 division is heating up. Yes, sir. It was kind of dry in the 140 division for a while. I mean, it was only Josh Taylor there for a long time, and then he met up against Catterall, and in my opinion, he lost that fight. But they gave it to him, and it's like that was the only challenge he had. Right? He even beat Regis Prograis at 140, so that's wild. And then now we got Devin Haney moving up there. Regis Prograis is still there doing his thing, even though he lost already to Josh Taylor. And then, I mean, Tank could get up there. Tank gets up there all the time. He'd be getting up to 140 all the time. So we might have Tank. Tank fluctuates between 140 and 135, which is just because Tank got so much power. He could just move up to 140 and still do work. So it's gonna be interesting. 140 is turning real interesting right now. But what sucks to me is like, what's going to happen with Shakur? Like, I wanted Shakur to fight Devin Haney. Now Shakur's going to fight a Lomachenko that lost to Devin Haney. Granted, a lot of people think he won and all these different things. I get that. But he still lost to Devin Haney, so it's not going to feel as fulfilling to Shakur if he fights Loma and beats Loma. It's not going to feel as fulfilling because he's going to be fighting for like a WBC belt. And he's not going to be fighting for undisputed. And I know that Shakur is a competitive guy. He would probably want to just fight Devin Haney for undisputed. But because Devin Haney's going to move up, then he's not going to even have that opportunity. So I feel super bad for Shakur. They're going to put him on an island right now. He's probably going to fight. He's probably going to end up fighting Lomachenko. And then after he beats Lomachenko, he will be top ranked number one superstar. Like, who else will be bigger than Shakur Stevenson? Nobody. Nobody will be bigger than Shakur Stevenson. I can see Loma retiring if he doesn't get the rematch. Seemed like his only goal was to become undisputed. Yeah, I could see that too. If Lomachenko retires, this will really suck for Shakur. This will really suck for Shakur Stevenson. People will still be able to keep telling Shakur, oh, you ain't fighting nobody at 135. And it'll be like, bro, look around me, bro. It's like it all collapsed. Like, I wanted to fight Devin Haney. He moved up to 140. I wanted to fight Lomachenko for the vacant belt, but he retired. Like, I want to fight people. They're just not there for me to fight. And you know 100,000% that Mayweather Promotions is not going to give Tank to Shakur to fight. They're not going to do that. Like, no way. No way. I don't even know what. I think the fight that they're trying to do is the Teofimo Lopez versus Tank fight. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to set up with Mayweather Promotions. Because I can't see them trying to give him Shakur Stevenson. And then I don't see Bob Arum trying to give Shakur Stevenson to Tank. I don't see that happening either. Do you think Loma could go down to 130 and become undisputed there? He could. He's better than all them guys. But the problem is that he has to it's going to be a journey, right? It's a long journey. He's going to have to be fighting these people, collecting them again, all over again. It's the journey. Like, look how long it took him to collect all the 135 belts. It took him a minute. He was doing work, but it took him a minute. And now it's like he got to start that whole thing all over. And then in the back of his mind, he's thinking, well, what if I get robbed? Because he feels like he got robbed, even though I don't think it was a robbery. But in his mind, he think it was a robbery as they took it to the commission. And the commission said that, no, they weren't going to overturn the decision. But I think that as a concession to the outrage that a lot of people are having and just Lomachenko, maybe because of Lomachenko's like history and how, he was a superstar. So, some privileges are given to superstars, right? The Mayweather had those privileges by getting a super belt. Canelo had those privileges. When you're a superstar, you get privileges. And I think they said, okay, we'll give you a concession and we're not going to overturn the decision. But what we will do is that we will give you back that number one contender spot. And then you could fight for it again. But Devin Haney ain't fighting no Lomachenko again, bro. I don't see that happening in any way, shape, or form. He's not doing that. He's gonna leave it there. And when people, for example, when Floyd Mayweather had that fight with Maidana, in the press conference, Floyd said, "We're gonna do it again. We gotta do it again. If y'all think he won, we gotta do it again." And I remember he clearly said, "Yo, when we fight again," in the post press conference, he told Maidana, "When we fight again, man, just stop hitting me in my nuts." Like that's what he literally said. Like, so the whole time he was talking like that's the next thing they were setting up. The whole time Devin Haney was talking, he wasn't talking like that's the next thing they were setting up. He was talking like Canelo was talking after the Arislandi Laura fight. Like, oh, well, I got to fight him. I won the fight. He was just running. I'm not doing, nah, bro, I'm moving on to bigger and better. That's what Devin Haney was sounding like. And Canelo never went back to do that, to clean that Loma fight up. I mean, that Loma fight, that Arislandi Laura fight up. He moved on. He moved on and he left them. And I think that Devin Haney's going that route too. Because that's the vibe that I've gotten from Devin Haney. Shakur is only gonna get better. Tank should take the fight now, in my opinion. But even if Tank takes it now, I think Tank loses to Shakur Stevenson. I think nobody could beat Shakur Stevenson, to be honest. Like, I don't see it happening at all. I can't imagine who would be able to pull it off. Shakur is really, really good. Like, very, very, very good. So I don't know. I can't see anybody beating Shakur Stevenson. Not even Tank, not even Devin Haney, not even Lomachenko. I remember when I was saying that back like 2-3 years ago that he would beat Lomachenko. People were like, "You crazy? You crazy?" This is before he fought Oscar Valdez. You crazy? Shakur can't beat no Lomachenko. Like, Lomachenko is the only person that will beat. I'm like, bro, y'all don't know. Like, this dude is a real. He's the real one, man. He's him. He's him for real. Boxing Fanatico, do you have a Discord server? I do not. No, I do not have a Discord server. Why? You guys want me to set up a Discord server? How far do you think Shakur goes in regard to weight classes? He's still somewhat, yeah. Got it. Had to sneeze. Sorry about that. He's still somewhat young, but I don't know how far up he could go. I think maybe the highest I could picture him is maybe 147. And if he stretches it a little bit, 154. But I only really see him as high as 147, stretching it, like really, really stretching it. I could see him as high as 147. And once he's at 147, he's probably going to be the most comfortable ever, because that's like Floyd. When Floyd was at 147, Floyd was comfortable because he didn't have to, like, kill himself. I mean, I think Floyd walked around at 150. If your walk around weight is 150 and all you got to do is make 147, yo, that's like one jogging session. Not even, bro. Like, that's one jump rope session, and he makes 147. So Floyd was mad comfortable at 147. And usually when you're a good defensive fighter and you're real smart, the closer you could get to your walk around weight, the better, right? Because you feel energized. That's why Floyd, man, he never got tired in that ring. He was never tired. This man was at full speed in terms of stamina, like for the whole 12 rounds. He was ready to go 12 rounds with you. And he was going to look as fresh as round one. As fresh as round one. So I think when Floyd got to 147, he was doing his thing. I feel like he was draining himself a little bit more when he was down at the lower weight classes. That's why he had little trouble with certain people like Emmanuel Augustus and Jose Luis Castillo. But when he got up there, he was real comfortable. He was real comfortable. Shakur cleans 130, 135, 140. Yeah, 100%. I think he beats all them guys. He beats Regis Prograis. He beats Teofimo Lopez. He beats Josh Taylor. I don't think any of them guys is good against Shakur Stevenson. I like the idea of a Discord server. Okay, all right. I see. Y'all, maybe y'all want me to do a Discord server. Maybe I'll do it. Who knows? Maybe I'll set something up. I don't know how to do any of that stuff in terms of like what's the point of it, but who knows? Maybe we put stuff there, we post things there, we talk to each other there. You never know. Makes sense. Sorry I'm late. Chill Will 21, what's going on, brother? What's good, my boy? What's up, man? Bless you, gang. Yeah, I don't know if you're talking to me or Chill Will, but yes. Hell yeah, you should set up a Discord server. The gang need a server to talk and hang out. I see. Okay. Y'all convincing me. I might do it. I might do it. The Boxing Fanatico Discord server. I might do it. Shakur beats the hell out of Loma. Yeah, I mean, I think Shakur will definitely, like when Shakur fights Lomachenko, I don't think it's going to be a question. It's not going to be close. It's not going to be like Shakur is going to really put like a separation between him and Lomachenko. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. Yeah, Floyd was a gym rat too. Always ready. Yeah, always ready. I'm telling you, how you fight at 147 and you walk around as 150, bro? That's not even like, nobody does that. But that's how confident Floyd was in his skills. That's how confident he was. In my opinion, I think Shakur is beatable. Oh, okay. So who do you think, Jumpman, would beat him? Who do you think would beat Shakur? I'm very interested. Like, who do you have in your mind thinking, okay, this guy could beat Shakur Stevenson? He's very good, though. Yeah, well, of course. What? Shakur Stevenson, I mean, he's a silver medalist. An Olympic silver medalist. He was essentially undefeated in the international level until the gold medal match in was it Rio? Yeah, in Rio. Until the gold medal match in Rio, he was undefeated at the international level. He had a lot of different world tournaments, international tournaments, in the amateurs, and he won them all. That was like his first loss internationally. I know this might be crazy, but I would say Tank beats Shakur by split decision, in my opinion. Same with Devin Haney. Hold up, Jumpman. Hold on. So you think that Devin Haney and Tank will beat Shakur by split decision? That's what you think? You really think that? Shakur got hurt by Valdez. No, he did not. So maybe Tank can hurt him. Shakur did not get hurt at any point by Valdez. At any point, Shakur did not get hurt by Valdez at all. He didn't. He was in a recent interview and he said he ain't never been hurt like with a punch to his face, to his head. He's never been hurt in his entire career. He said he's been hurt, like bothered by a body shot in sparring, but that's the most he's ever been like quote unquote hurt. He said he's never been hurt. So the Valdez fight, and if you watch the Valdez fight, there's not a moment where you could see it and be like, oh, he's hurt. There was never a stumble, a wobble, a discombobulated moment. He was never hurt against Valdez. He basically pieced Valdez up from pillar to post, was beating him up. On an interview. Yeah, no. He said he got hit a body shot by Valdez and he said he wanted to vomit. No, that wasn't, but that wasn't a Valdez fight. He was talking about, I know what interview, I watched the interview, it was recent. He was talking about a sparring session. He got hit to the body in a sparring session and he felt like he wanted to vomit. But that was it. And he said that in the face, in the head, like getting wobbled, that ain't never happened to him. Like he's never been hurt in that way. Like a body shot where he's like, ooh, what the heck? What is that? Yeah, but a headshot where he's like all wobbly, that never happened to him. Shakur dog walked Valdez. Yeah, the whole time. He stayed right in front of him the whole time. Controlled distance the whole time. Yeah, bro. Definitely not sleeping Shakur, though. So roughly the only way Shakur loses is a split decision. Okay. Hey, listen. Everybody's entitled to, what they think would happen. In my opinion, though, I think Shakur makes it an easy fight for Devin Haney. And with Tank, I think it's a little bit more of a difficult fight than the Devin Haney fight, but that don't mean that it's a difficult fight, if you get what I'm saying. I feel like he's going to have to do a little bit more or put a little bit more levels to it for Tank than Devin Haney, but he's still going to make it look easy. I think he makes it look easy with both Devin Haney and Tank, but I think Tank is going to be a little bit harder than Devin Haney if he was to fight them. And I think he also beats Lomachenko, in my opinion. A bit of craziness with the Mauricio Lara versus Leigh Wood weigh-ins today. Oh yeah, he was stripped, right? He was stripped because he didn't come in at the sanctioned weight. I think Tank could push Shakur out, but I can't see him outboxing him. But I can't see him, I think, outboxing him well enough to get a decision. Yeah, see, in my opinion, the only way Tank wins is by knockout against Shakur. I can't see Tank being smarter than Shakur. I don't see Tank being smarter than Shakur if they actually fought. I don't see that. What I do see is a possible knockout or whatever. But at the same time, on the flip side, Shakur got well, maybe it's because he's just super good with his distance, but it looked like he got a real solid chin. Like, it don't look like you could really hit him like that. And he's gonna see it coming. He's gonna be smart. He's also a southpaw, so he's gonna remove a lot of those advantages that come with Tank being a southpaw against orthodox fighters. I think there's a lot of things in Shakur's favor, right? Because if you remove those advantages for somebody who goes for the knockout and is comfortable doing it against orthodox fighters, that opens up the floor for somebody who's a boxer, who's going to be boxing you to do well. And I think that Tank, he has skills and he could box, but he loves to rely on his power a lot. So he'll let people just throw punches and get tired, and he'll get tagged up a few times and he'll be losing on the scorecard, but he doesn't care so much because he knows that he's going to get them out of there at one point because he trusts his power so much. He trusts his timing, and he just waits for the perfect punch. He's always trying to wait for that perfect punch. But I think that if he does that with Shakur, it's going to be a long night for him because Shakur will never give him that perfect punch. Shakur is not going to concede that to Tank, and then he's going to end up slowly but surely just outboxing him, outworking him, and then next thing you know, the fight is over and Shakur won. And Newell versus Fulton going under the radar. Heck no, nah. I mean, the only problem is Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence is like so close to it. So like everybody's gonna be talking about Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford, but bro, they're not happening on the same night. They're not happening on the same night. So that's two fights we gonna see, and in a very close proximity. I think that's a gift. That's a gift to boxing fans, in my opinion. Laura missed the check-in weight on Wednesday. The board told him not to cut all the way to 126 as it would be a danger to his health. So Wood weighed in at 126 and Laura just under 130. Yeah. And he was stripped. Laura was told he had to weigh in at 128.85 or above. You think Spence is knocking out Bud in July? No, man. I think Bud is knocking out Spence in July, bro. My prediction is that Bud Crawford is going to win against Spence. Bud Crawford is going to win by knockout. Bud Crawford got a 100% knockout ratio in the welterweight division. He knocking everybody out. And for a long time, people thought he was little because he went from 140 to 147, but he's more 147 than ever now, and he's knocked every single person he's ever fought at 147 out. So, and even if we look at the last 6 fights, his last 6 fights, all knockouts. While Errol Spence's last 6 fights, he's only knocked out 2 people out of the 6. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Ben Davis and Wood are contemplating walking away, but seems like the fight will go on. Okay. I mean, sometimes when you get stripped for the belt, it's like, just fight anyways, right? Because you train for this. Just go out there. You know you're going to get criticism or whatever. But just go out there and fight because screw it, man. You already trained. Like, the fight is here. Some luster is going to be gone, but it's better than nothing, right? It's better than nothing. So just fight. That's my position. I would never say, oh, don't fight because the belts are not whatever. And also, you know, his opponent has the incentive to fight anyways because he can win the belt. Shakur hasn't fought no one. This is what people love to say. This is like the credit card companies, right? When you trying to get a credit card, but you got no credit, but then they don't want to give you the credit card that will give you the credit so you can have credit so that you can get a credit card. This is how I feel when people say Shakur hasn't fought anyone. It's like, okay, so let him fight Tank. No, because he hasn't fought anyone. All right, cool. So he'll fight this guy. Look, he ain't fighting nobody. So should he fight Devin Haney. No, because he hasn't fought anyone yet. But if he fights Devin Haney, then that will mean he fought somebody, right? Yeah. So let's have him fight him. No, because he hasn't fought anyone. So if he fights somebody else, that's not Devin Haney, that's not Tank, that's not Lomachenko, then he'll be ready for no, because that's not nobody. It's like, oh my God, bro. It's literally like them credit card companies, bro. If you ever wanted to establish credit, you can never, it's like you always got to find a cosigner. You got to do some loopholes because you can't get a credit card to prove that you could get a good credit score because they won't give it to you because you don't got a credit score. And that's how I feel when people say this. If he wants to fight Tank, why not let him? If he's not ready, let him lose. This is this thing that I don't understand. People that like Tank don't want Shakur to fight Tank. Why not? Let him fight Tank and let him lose, and that's it. Like, then he's wrong. He should have never fought him. Tank will catch you eventually, and it will be over. So let that happen. That's my point. Let it happen. Why be like, no, don't fight because he ain't ready. He ain't fought nobody. Well, Tank is somebody. But nah, he can't fight him because he got to fight somebody first. So nobody, bro, it's like, I'm telling you, it's the exact same premise of the credit card companies not giving you a credit card because you don't got no credit, but you need a credit card to establish credit. We got to wake up early for that fight, man. I hate it. Hey, man, listen, it happens, man. It happens sometimes. When they go over to Japan and stuff, we got to be waking up early. Once you feel the power, the game over. So let them fight him then. Let them fight him. How do you think the early rounds will go in the Spence-Crawford fight, and who will be up after 6? I think the whole fight will be explosive. It will be a close fight the entire time up until around the 6th round, and I think that's when Crawford is going to start to create separation from Errol Spence, and I think around 8, 9, 10, Terrence Crawford gets him out of there. I think around 8, 9, 10, Terrence Crawford gets him out of there. Adrian Dones with $10 super chat. Spence beating the brakes off Bud. Have a safe weekend. Thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate it. And listen, everyone's entitled to their prediction, to what they think is going to happen. But in my opinion, Bud Crawford's going to win that fight. How do you see Inoue versus Fulton playing out? I think Inoue will win against Fulton. But Fulton's a beast, man. He's a good fighter. But I think Inoue will be able to pull it off. The former undisputed champion Inoue, I think he'll be able to pull it off. Inside the square circle with King Judah. Imagine capping for Lomachenko only for him to replace you in the rankings undeservingly. Laughing my ass off. Well, here's the thing. I don't think he was capping. I think he truly think Lomachenko won the fight. When I scored it for Lomachenko. However, I do not in any way, shape, or form think that it is a robbery. Because to me, it was a close fight that could have swung either way. So if somebody saw Devin Haney winning, I could easily understand it. If somebody saw it being a draw, I could understand it. If somebody saw it being Lomachenko, I could understand that, obviously, as that's how I scored it. But he saw it for Lomachenko. I don't think he himself, Shakur, has enough pull to make a whole commission make decisions based off of that. I think the decision was based off of Lomachenko's history with the WBC and all that. Like the sentiment behind the fight with all of the viewers and stuff. Just that aura behind what happened and like the outrage and stuff, and with social media being more prevalent now, I think it was kind of in the public eye a lot, and then the WBC to not give nothing to Lomachenko because they were contesting it at the commission. He at least said, you know what, we'll at least give you number one contender. I don't think Shakur had anything to do with that at all. Ortiz should have fought Boots instead of Stanos. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. I want to see Virgil Ortiz fighting Boots too. Like those are the fights that I want to see. But those fights, I don't even think about them, because if I think about them, then it's like I'm gonna go crazy, right? Because unless it feels like it's moving towards each other, they feel like they're moving towards each other, I don't like to think about it. He don't get no credit for what? What are you talking about? He can fight Tank. Okay. Oh, so he could fight Tank. So why are you saying he's not ready? I said he will lose for sure if he does. Okay. I wish he fight. Oh, okay. I see. I hear you. Okay, cool. Hey, look. If you want him to fight Tank, that's perfect. Because from when I get on Twitter and I look at people say stuff about Shakur fighting Tank or whatever, they don't say this. They say what you said in terms of he not ready, and they say he shouldn't fight him because he's not ready. They also add that, like, oh, Tank don't need to fight him. He ain't ready. But that's always a contradicting statement in my opinion, because then it's like, well, why would you think that Isaac Cruz was more ready than Shakur for Tank, right? Like, why would you think that Mario Barrios was more ready for Tank than Shakur? Like he's fought so many different people. Why was Rolly Romero more ready for Tank than Shakur? So in my opinion, I don't subscribe to that. But it looks like you don't either. You want him to fight. Cool, great. I love it. Please come back if they ever make that fight, so that I could tell you I told you so. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Just come through so that I could be like, hey, look, then I'll tell you that Shakur was like the best. Inside Square, he needs to fight Frank Martin, who called him out, and his promoter, Errol Spence, told Shakur personally they want him. Ooh, I don't think Frank Martin ready for Shakur, but if they want to do the fight, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. Who's one fighter you wish you got to see live or fight on TV? Mine would be Sugar Ray Robinson or Muhammad Ali. Probably Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson would have been a fighter that I would have loved to see on TV. Not on TV live, but that would have been that's a crazy experience, because I was back in the 1950s. He will lose, LOL. We got it. I want him to fight Tank. Okay. So people can shut up. I see. Inside Square Circle, Spence by 9th round TKO. If Bud don't stop Spence in 4, he has no chance. He will be down on the scorecards if it goes the distance. I don't know. I stay up till 4 or 5 a.m. for all the fight staged in USA. Inoue versus Fulton going to be 1 p.m. UK time. So I'll take that. Well deserved if you ask me. Yeah, nah. Y'all deserve it, Hashim. Y'all deserve it. We get spoiled over here in the U.S. for these big fights. AP whatever with the $5 super chat. Make that Discord game for all these fights happening. We're going to join that instantly. Yeah, I got to do that. Yeah. You guys are really making me, convincing me about it. And for the record, Fanatico, I think it's dope how you are a boxing gamer and keep up with the sport in real life. Not many do both. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah. I love both of them equally. I literally love both of them equally. Did you guys see the new devlog by Love C Shorty where he changed the animations for the blocking and how the blocking work? Man, that dude is making a killer of a game. I can't wait till it comes out. Can't wait till he drops a new demo because I want to try out the new mechanics. Shakur hasn't fought anyone because no one wants to see him. Yeah, that's true. He be wanting to fight people, but they always be like, nah, we're good. We don't want to do it. He wanted, who he wanted? They all tell him no. He wanted Isaac Cruz. It's like, nah, we're good. Booth versus Keith Thurman will be a good one. Yes, I want that. But it seems like Keith don't got it no more. He don't, but he beat Mario Barrios. He came back, beat Mario Barrios. I feel like he should fight. Twitter's not serious, bro. Someone had Haney winning every round of the fight versus Loma. Yeah, man, I know. But I'm just saying, sometimes, I go on Twitter. That's the way. Twitter is the only real way that I could see what people are thinking in a snapshot. There's no other place where you could do that. Because even on YouTube, it's you only get one person's opinion, right? You're right now, you're only getting my opinion on this live stream. On Twitter, you're getting 100 million opinions at once. So, it's a good way to gauge the community and the boxing community and see what they like, what they don't like, what they care about. So, all right. Stop saying nobody wants Shakur. Both Frank Martin and Errol Spence told Shakur personally they want the smoke. Okay, all right. Yeah, no, hey, listen. Frank Martin, that's a cool fight. I would love that. I don't know if that's a smart thing for Frank Martin, but I would love that fight. Hit the like button. Oh my goodness, it's 8 o'clock already. 8:02. We're gonna go ahead and end the live stream here. But yes, hit the like button on your way out and hit the subscribe button on your way out. because we go live Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern time to talk about IRL boxing. So we'll be back on Mondays. But in between those times, whenever there's something really, really important, I also do full-blown videos on boxing. So stick to this channel. And every once in a while, we also do boxing video games. As long as we get new information on boxing video games, I'll be dropping a video on news that relates to boxing video games as well. Now, let me look at these last two comments here. If Sugar Ray Robinson was alive and young today, would he beat Shakur, Haney, or Tank? I don't know. If he was alive today, he would have to train in the way that the sport has evolved to how it is today. And then that would be the way that maybe he has the mind to absorb that way of fighting. And then he could be more creative than his peers to learn it better and figure out more things to do and be more like adapted to it. And then maybe, because the sport has evolved, right? Like the tactics have evolved. So it's a little bit hard to like, if he fights exactly, like if you were to take Sugar Ray Robinson, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it's the truth. If you was to take Sugar Ray Robinson, the greatest of all time, and put him in a time machine from that time when he was at his peak and brought him here, he would lose to a lot of fighters because of the science of the sport has evolved. Right? So he would be with the old school science, and there'll be like people that have like sharpened the game over time. And you know what I mean? So it's just like, because boxing is so subjective, it's hard to use that to quantify. But look at every other sport we've ever had, right? Look at ones that are very easy to quantify. People, track and field, a 100-meter dash. People get better and better and better and better. When you think that a number is impossible to beat, somebody eventually beats it. And I think it's because of sports science and things get better. People get sharper, like because of all that data from years and history. So I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. If he was the brain, Sugar Ray Robinson, the brain, and he figures it out for the current times and it works for him, then yes. But he did have like a crazy leverage in his punches. He could knock you out going backwards. If Bud can't hurt Spence by 6, he's in trouble. Let's see. Let's see. I think it's going to be a back and forth until the 6th. And I think then that's when Bud Crawford will start to pull away, and then he's going to knock him out in round 8, 9, or 10. That's my prediction. Good night, Fanatico. Thank you, brother. Chill Will 21 with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. AP, whatever, stay safe. Chill Will, thanks for starting these live episodes. Blessings, of course, man. And we're staying strong. We're already on episode 17. I'm hyped. I'll be having a blast with you guys on these episodes. All right, guys, until the next one, peace out. See you guys.